Hi, my name's LilyHershberger, and this is my social justice analysis for Principles of Health Promotion. I chose to discuss the article Unreconciled Inconsistencies and my opinions about how the nursing profession has moved away from social justice. The most powerful quote to me from the article Unreconciled Inconsistencies was, and I'm going to quote it because I can never do it justice, "Self-imposed limits on nursing practice have been institutionalized through the social systems of market-driven healthcare that often results in us having little time for changing systems as we provide reimbursable services to individuals. In addition, the corporate power structures that often perpetuate inequities have also become institutionalized, making it difficult for nurses to garner enough vision and programmatic resources to enact and sustain change. Basically, nurses have so many hoops to jump through that they don't have the time or energy to address policy or other changes that need to be made to nursing." That really hit home with me, and I feel like it's one of the biggest problems nurses face when trying to provide social justice for their patients. About the nurse's path, we've kind of went from small hospitals that were run, just by a couple nurses and a doctor to these huge corporations. We currently have 3.1 million nurses in America, and that's from the American Association of College of Nursing. When you are one in 3.1 million, your voice feels much smaller. So I agree with most of the statements made by Beckemeyer and Butterfield in that article. I feel that nursing really has changed in many ways. We used to be a much smaller profession that allowed more involvement by the nurses in the development of the nursing role. Today, it's such a huge profession. There's so many different positions you can be a nurse in. When nursing was small, there were fewer cooks in the kitchen, if you will. This allowed for nurses to have a bigger impact on how nurses nursed. Now that healthcare is a multi-billion-dollar beast, the people have interest in healthcare as a business and not from a nurse's heart. It really has changed the way nurses perform. I know firsthand how hard it is to change a policy for the benefit of the patient if it costs too much or doesn't come from the right supplier. It's really sad that the cost is more important than the health of the patient. The supporting statement for this is emancipatory knowing. This kind of comes from the critical social theory. Basically, that emancipatory knowing is taking the social, historical, and ideological forces under scrutiny and looking at how these things limit potential and therefore create inequalities. Chin and Kramer state that emancipatory knowing is the human capacity to be aware of and critically reflect on the social, cultural, and policy status quo and to figure out how and why it can be that way. So taking that concept and applying it to nursing practice and social justice or injustice is pretty easy. It is easy to see how the evolution of the healthcare system has played a huge role in the nursing profession, getting away from social justice. Historically, hospitals were small and ran by a few nurses and a doctor. It made it easy for the nurses to meet, get together, and make changes to the policy as needed to better suit their patients. Now that hospitals are so large, it's difficult for nurses to affect the policies that will provide more equal treatment or social justice for their patients. I do think that we are getting better at that. A lot of hospitals have unit-based councils or other form of councils that nurses can get together and make changes to policies. Another supporting statement is the feminist approaches. Like there's two of those, the care-focused and power-focused. Care-focused feminists focus more on the private lives of women and how they affect their relationships in life, where power-focused feminists focus more on the why women are treated differently than their male counterparts. However, both care and power-focused feminists agree on the same criteria that was defined by Allison Jagger. So first, that view men and women as having fundamentally dissimilar life situations. 2, provide ways that undermine the systematic subordination of women. 3, offer methods for dealing with issues that arise in the private sphere or domestic life. 4, take the moral experience of women seriously, although also critically. Those are all from Allison Jagger. An example of this is women getting paid less to do the same job as their male counterpart. I'm looking at why women are more likely to be abused when they're pregnant, understanding why women have a lower socioeconomic status. And it obviously applies to the nursing profession since it's largely a female occupation. Using this approach, I would ask why nurses feel that they aren't able to make more of a difference in their profession and what we can do to change that. In conclusion, the nursing profession is so large that if we speak up, we really can make a change. We need to remember our roles as nurses to provide the best care to everyone and unite and be heard in order to make necessary changes. This becomes even more true as we venture into our new roles of nurse midwives. We'll be looked to from our fellow nurses as leaders and must step up and be a good example as advocates for our patients. We must never stop trying to make changes to the nursing profession that benefit our patients and never lose sight that we are our patients' advocates. Here's a list of the references used for this presentation. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. My contact information is listed at the bottom. Are there any further questions? Thank you and have a wonderful day.